Story 1. AITA for requesting to remove my thesis partner from our research, which may cause her not to graduate. So I am in a college course with only 8 people, so we're all pretty close. For our thesis, we were assigned to work in pairs and I got partnered with a woman I've already worked with several school projects before. She tends to do things last minute, but she usually does them, so I wasn't thrilled but figured we'd manage. That changed quickly. We both work night shifts, but she also has a kid. I get that, and I've really tried to be understanding. But I still managed to interview her 3 times over 3 months, while she was constantly unavailable. When it came time to transcribe the interviews, each an hour long, we split the work, but she didn't do any of hers. I ended up doing all of it just to keep us from falling behind. Then came encoding, which is the most tedious and time-consuming part of our paper. We split the work again, and for almost a month, I kept bugging her and messaging her to finish her part, and she never did. I eventually gave up and just did the whole thing myself. I told our advisor, and they made her pay for the subscription to the software we were using as compensation. But that was the only thing she contributed. Still trying to be fair, I asked her to handle our thesis defense presentation and script instead. But on the day of the defense, the presentation was unfinished, and I had to fix it myself right there in the room. She arrived 1.5 hours late, and the script she gave only covered 20 pages for a 45-plus slide deck. After the defense, we were told to redo the encoding and rewrite chapters 3 and 4 separately so we could compare and combine. I started mine right away. She still hasn't done anything. I've been consistently messaging her to ask for updates, to follow up on her encoding, her write-up, and I just got "yeah, I'll do it," but still nothing. And I constantly see her active on Facebook and posting stories. Finally, I asked our advisor if I could submit the thesis under my name only, which would mean she won't graduate. Now people are telling me I'm being too harsh and should just carry her one last time, but I honestly feel like I've carried her through the entire thing already. AITA for doing this, even if it might cost her graduation. Story 2. AITA for refusing to cook family dinner because my sister invited someone I don't get along with. Hi, this is my first post on this account and a throwaway because my family knows my usual username. I, 22M, love cooking, it's my passion and a way I relax. My family usually has Sunday dinners together, and I often take charge of the cooking. My sister, 19F, is into baking, so we make a good team. Last Sunday, my sister invited her boyfriend over for dinner. I've never really clicked with him, he's a bit rude and dismissive, and he made a few snide remarks about my weird cooking hobby in the past. I've tried to ignore it, but it's hard. When my sister told me she was bringing him, I said I wasn't comfortable cooking for him. I told her I'd skip this Sunday's dinner if he was coming because I didn't want to deal with negativity while trying to enjoy cooking. My mom was upset and said I was being childish and making things harder for the family. My sister was disappointed too and said I was making her choose between me and her boyfriend. In the end, I didn't cook, and my mom made a simple meal. The dinner was tense. I feel justified wanting to protect my mental space, especially since cooking is important to me, but maybe I should have just put on a smile and cooked anyway. Story 3. For yelling at my friend cause she almost got us into a car accident. I'm 19F. My friend is also a 19F. She got her license about 2 months ago. I'm older by a few months and got mine when I was 18, on my birthday. So I have about a year and some months over her when it comes to driving experience. I usually drive to work and follow traffic laws. I've never gotten pulled over or gotten a speeding ticket. So far. Yesterday, me and my friend and her boyfriend went out for dinner. She offered to drive me home, which worked out cause my mom had the car anyways. After dinner, her boyfriend sat in the back seat immediately, which I found a little odd but brushed it off for him wanting us to sit together in the front. When we started driving, the first thing I noticed was she didn't do a complete stop at a stop sign. This wouldn't usually bother me if there was absolutely no one there, but it was a little busy and she barely stopped and just gunned it. The other cars were visible but not close enough. I didn't say anything cause it was fine. Then, she needed gas. So we stopped at a gas station. This is where I may be the asshole. As we were coming out of the gas station, my friend didn't look at all at the incoming traffic and just sped out. We nearly got hit and it was on my side, so I physically flinched and said, "Watch out." The other car honked at us, but we kept on going. And once we did, I told my friend, "Why didn't you look? Do you know how dangerous that was?" She was quiet, told me a soft sorry, and kept going. Even her boyfriend chimed in, "You didn't even look," and she just got more quiet. When we got to my place, I asked if she was okay, and she told me that I can't just yell at her while she drives, cause that's more dangerous since she's distracted. I said, "I get that, but that car had the right of way and you just came straight out without even a glance in the opposite direction. We all could have gotten hurt or possibly even killed if the other driver wasn't paying attention." She said it still wasn't right for me to overreact, 'cause then she got scared and thought that I'd yell at her at how she's messing up like her mom or dad. I said, "But your parents aren't here, and you were being reckless. That other car's bumper was basically at my side of the window. I would have gotten the most serious damage if we did crash. I'm obviously going to react if it's my or anyone else's life on the line. Just cause you passed your driver's license exam doesn't mean you're a pro." She said that I wasn't a pro either and that I've only had mine for a year, which is true. But I've been driving for a year more than she has. I have more experience no matter what. So, AITA for overreacting at my friend being a reckless driver? She's still mad at me now, and her boyfriend is saying I hurt her feelings by insinuating she was a bad driver. Story 4. AITA for correcting my wife about slurping soup in public. My wife and I are attending a chef's table experience. She was loudly slurping her soup and I politely told her not to slurp through dinner. She retorted and said in Japan it is seen as a sign of content, but we are not in Japan, and the noise is actively affecting other diners in our area. When I called her out, she tells me that I'm an asshole for suggesting she's doing something the wrong way, specifically in the moment she's slurping, but we're eating at a fancy restaurant and we're not in Japan. For calling her out and trying to stop the slurp when I noticed it. Edit. My wife is not Japanese. However, she's familiar with Japanese culture because she spent some time there. This was not Japanese cuisine. It was a potato leek soup. Story 5. For not going to a friend's 25th birthday celebration after she left my wedding twice. A week ago I, 25F, married the love of my life, 24F, and we had a small ceremony with our families and close friends. For a little perspective, we had 8 guests plus the 2 brides. The ceremony was max 45 minutes and we only had the photographer for 2 hours. Everything was perfect. We had gone to a conservatory in the area and took pictures inside and out. 2 of our friends, Bailey, 24, and Deb, 25, engaged themselves, started to have their own photo shoot literally in front of us. I decided to cheer Yasku Deb, to which she stopped posing and said, "Damn, that's so embarrassing." We finished couples shots and saw Bailey and Deb were nowhere to be seen. All of our families and other friends were very upset that the 2 of them left, but we just played it off like it was okay, and that is just how they are. The bar after party was just our friends, and we had rented an area for 2 hours, but the catch was we needed to hit a $200 bar tab minimum. Deb and Bailey show up late to the after party but seem happy to be there. They are talking to our other friends and Bailey stated to play games with us. Deb finds games embarrassing, and they are both drinking, not a requirement for fun but they love drinking. About a half hour into the after party, Bailey asks us what we'd be doing Friday and to not make plans because it's Deb's birthday. We had been looking to go on a trip that weekend, but it was not planned, so we said that we should be able to go. A few moments later, Deb comes back from the bar and is complaining how drinks were so expensive. A special cocktail was $12 and a draft beer was $10. A while later, my wife wanted to get food, so we went to go look at a food truck. As she saw there was nothing she'd eat and decided to get canes later, we see Bailey and Deb waving us down. Thinking they want food too, we tell them we aren't getting stuff here, and they tell us that a mutual friend was bartending 20 minutes away, so they were going to see her but would meet us back at the house later. Keep in mind we live in a major city and this friend is a bartender and has been for over a year. When we got back in the bar, one of our other friends, Kay, asked where Deb and Bailey went because they told Kay that they'd be right back, so of course being confused we checked the tab and they had closed their tab. Everyone looked at it fine because we got to drink more and hang out longer with friends from out of town. We finished drinks around 11:30 p.m. only to get a text from Deb saying they aren't coming back to the house with everyone, they are going home. Well, my wife and I decided to go on our last-minute little honeymoon weekend, which so happened to overlap with Deb's birthday, so we weren't able to make it. after letting Deb and Bailey know we could go and why they have basically ignored both of us and our texts. So are we assholes from not going to Deb's birthday after they left our wedding celebration not once but twice? Story 6. For telling my house guest to deal with previously molded laundry that he then left wet in the washer for over 2 days. My partner and I have opened up our home to let our 2 friends live with us who are out on difficult times financially and needed a safe place to live after a bad rental situation. It was my idea since we can't keep helping them out financially. We own our home and told them they can just save whatever they would have spent on rent to go towards credit cards or a nest egg and just pay their half of water and electricity, not Wi-Fi or TV. I won't go into the issues that have come up over the past 2 weeks or give much backstory because I want to hear an unbiased response without me providing a sob story. The one friend does all the laundry for him and his partner. He left laundry in the wash for over a day last week that I ended up just moving into the dryer so it wouldn't mold and told him that we can't be leaving wet laundry in the washer for a long time and if he needed to hang anything I've put in the dryer he should go grab it. He acted sort of inconvenienced. I do know him leaving stuff in the washer has been an issue with him and his partner before. This past Friday, he did a load of laundry that he told me was molded from the moldy basement of their old place. He said he may need to wash it twice. No problem. The Friday night, I mentioned to him that his laundry was still in the wash and that he should move it. My partner said they put a wedge in the washer door so it wouldn't get too musty and it was okay for him to deal in the morning. He thanked us and said he would. It is now Sunday night. The laundry was still in there, after more than 48 hours. This load was, again, of molded clothes. He came home around 10:30 p.m. I noticed the clothes were still waiting for him in the wash around 11 p.m. I calmly came to tell him that I'd appreciate if he helped with it so our machine doesn't get musty and moldy. He asked if he could do it in the morning. I said I would feel better if he did it now. He was anxious, probably felt bad, and went to deal with it. He came back right away and told me that he has to re-wash it because it got stinky and musty from sitting in the washer. He told me he will change it over to the dryer in the morning. I told my partner what happened and they, a very non-confrontational avoidant person, said I shouldn't have said anything and just told him in the morning before he went to work. This ended in an argument because of the other issues that have come up that I have been very understanding of but felt unsupported in my frustrations for what I consider to be common decency and respect for the other people you're living with. AITA for telling him to deal with his moldy laundry. WIPTA if I tell him to deal with the now twice washed and left 4 hours again load in the morning to be put in the dryer. Will I be the asshole if I tell him he can't do this again? I don't want my clothes to become affected by a moldy wash basin or have to pay out of pocket for it to be professional cleaned. Story 7. For laughing when I accidentally broke something at my BFS parents' house, which possibly led them to not let me stay over visit. I, 18F, have been dating my boyfriend, 19M, for a while now. He lives with his parents, and up until recently, they had no issue with me staying over. In fact, they had even offered to let me move in at one point. We all got along, or so I thought. But recently, things changed. A few weeks ago, I accidentally backed over a metal chicken statue in their yard. I didn't see it, but apparently it was worth $150. I felt terrible about it and apologized multiple times. I also offered to pay for it. The problem is, when it happened, I kind of laughed, not because I thought it was funny, but because I was shocked and nervous. It was just a gut reaction. I explained that to my boyfriend, and he tried to explain it to his mom, but she didn't buy it. She told him she thought it was super disrespectful. Since then, she's been going around telling other family members about it, along with the fact that she found a pregnancy test in his room. Out of nowhere, she messaged my boyfriend and said God laid conviction on our hearts and that I'm no longer allowed to stay over, or really even come over at all. No conversation with me directly, just a message to him. Both my boyfriend and I are hurt. He feels like it's wrong to stay somewhere I'm not welcome. But we also can't afford to move out yet, and I can't host him at my house either, my grandpa is super strict. So now we're stuck, and I feel like this whole thing spiraled from a mistake I already owned and apologized for. So, AITA for laughing in that moment and possibly being the reason I'm no longer welcome? Or is this a bigger issue that has less to do with the chicken and more to do with how his mom really feels about me? Story 8. AITA for being my dad's favorite child. Not the a-hole. I, 32F, have a younger sister, 31F, who is neurodivergent, and an older brother, 37M, a rainbow baby. Growing up, I often felt unwanted. My accomplishments were always overshadowed by my siblings. I was expected to cook, clean, get straight A's, especially since my brother dropped out of high school. My mom was always afraid I'd end up like him, yet still clearly loved them more. At 12 to 13, I really started noticing the favoritism. My brother could stay out until 2 a.m. with his stoner friends. My sister got shopping sprees with my mom's credit card. I couldn't even go to the library. My dad noticed this too, and we became close. He never said it, but it was obvious I was his favorite. I got a lot of crap for it, like my siblings would make me clean their rooms or yell at me when he wasn't around. My sister tried so hard to earn my dad's love and attention. I understood why. I just finally had one parent who asked about my day instead of just my grades and chores. Now, fast forward to today. My parents, siblings, and I were all catching up, rare, but nice. We were talking about the past, and the topic of favoritism came up. My sister said she felt my dad always loved me more. I waited until she finished and shared how I felt neglected by my mom. My mom got mad and yelled at me for accusing her of favoritism. Then my sister straight up asked my dad, "Do you love her more than me?" The room went silent. After a long pause, my dad said, "I wasn't oblivious to how your mom treated her. She treated her like she didn't exist. She needed extra love because you took it all from your mom." My sister completely broke down. She cried, screamed, threw things. I grabbed my purse and left. I went back to my apartment, turned off my phone, had some wine, and went to bed. When I turned my phone on the next morning, I had hundreds of texts and 70+ calls from my sister. I didn't open any of them, I just blocked her number and on all social media. My dad tried to bring it up, but I shut it down. My mom said nothing. My brother only said, "What the hell was that last night?" in our group chat. No one replied. So, for walking out and blocking my sister. Edit 1. First off, thank you guys so much for your response. Really, it means a lot that someone other than my dad finally agrees with me. Second off, I want to say that my sister's and I relationship has never been good. I always envied her. I am trying to be as transparent as possible. Because she was adored in my mother's eyes, and I tried to please my mom as much as I could, but I could never make her as happy as my sister made her. And thanks to your guys' insight, I understand that she could possibly also feel the same way with my dad. Here is the thing though, when I said that she tried to make my dad love her like he loved me, it didn't mean doing things to make him proud, it means putting me down. If I missed a spot on the vacuum, she'd wait until my dad got home to tell her and point it out to him. By then of course my dad didn't really care, would just tell my sister that I tried my best, but my mom would absolutely get upset. And, my sister's neurodivergence has given her a lot of room to excuse. She doesn't take meds or see a therapist, and her big tantrums stopped when she was around 7. As of now, she is still blocked. I feel like she is old enough to not behave like how she acted. Also, for those of y'all that were saying how I'm 32, shouldn't be acting like this, well, this is a glimpse of how my household was like growing up, and if you think you would be normal after growing up in a household like this, kudos to you face with cowboy hat. I will update y'all when I unblock her. Update 2. So I ended up unblocking my sister the day after everything happened. Not cause I forgave her or was ready to talk. I just got curious. Like okay, maybe she calmed down. Maybe she wanted to actually talk like an adult. Wrong. I unblocked her in the morning. Didn't say anything. By like 2 p.m. she was already blowing up my phone again. 12 missed calls. 7 texts in a row. No, hey no, can we talk just straight up? I can't believe you're still ignoring me, you're so selfish. You ruined the family. Dad only likes you cause you act perfect all the time, girl. You just outed yourself. Again. Like I didn't even say a word to her. I just quietly unblocked and boom. Immediate meltdown. Like she was waiting to press send on the tantrum. Then she had the nerve to send, "If you actually cared about me you wouldn't have embarrassed me like that. First of all you embarrassed yourself. Second of all, maybe don't scream and throw stuff in front of everyone next time. I blocked her again. No warning. No response. Just block. Again. My dad asked if I unblocked her and I said briefly, and he literally just laughed and said figures, so yeah. No dramatic reunion. No healing convo. Just another reminder that sometimes people show you exactly why you walked away the first time. I think I'm ready to just cut her off. Not my mom. I know this is hard to hear for y'all, but she is my mom and I love her. And my brother has always been astray from the family, so nothing seems too difficult or different with him. Story 9. AITA for ruining the banana prank. I, 30F, don't like bananas. I think they're gross. I don't like the flavor, the texture, the smell. I would honestly love to never have to interact with one. My boyfriend, 31M, knows this. He's known since he met me 6 years ago. He thinks it's hilarious. We met working in a restaurant where I was a server bartender and he was a cook. We both love food and the hospitality industry, so he thinks it's ridiculous for me to have such strong feelings of distaste for bananas when we literally work with food in the food industry. Also, I have eaten touched bananas before, didn't like them. It's not like it's a phobia or anything. Anyway, it's not really an issue as we don't ever buy bananas or have them in the house, but on the very rare occasion that he does buy bananas, once every 3 years. Not even. He always tries to fuck with me with the banana in some way. He'll chase me around with the banana peel or leave the banana peel on my laptop or on the floor for me to slip on like Mario Kart. To be clear, I love pranks. Love them. I was all about the smoking toilet prank. We prank each other all the time. I just really hate being pranked with the bananas. Today he went to eat a banana and I turned around and the peel was sitting on top of my laptop and I just lost it. I insisted he throw it out. I did not want to touch it or interact with it. He was dying laughing, went and got another banana, and ate that banana on the couch right next to my laptop, trying to get me to come over and give him a kiss, mouthful of banana, my literal nightmare, or move the peel myself. And I got upset and insisted he get rid of the banana and just kept telling him that this particular thing is not funny to me and I don't like it. He finally threw out the peel and said I'm being ridiculous and overly dramatic. So AITA, overreacting about the bananas. I just don't want banana pranks with real bananas. Story 10. AITA for how I reacted to my dad about forgetting to wish him a happy Father's Day. Woke up to this message this morning. For context, I have a 2-week-old newborn at home and her mother was sick, so I was having to take care of them both all day and honestly didn't think about the fact it was Father's Day. Here's a copy-paste of the conversation we had. Dad. Completely gut-wrenching that you didn't even send a text message on Father's Day to wish me a happy Father's Day. How could you possibly think that is okay? Me. Sorry, I was busy dealing with Aurora all day. Dawn is sick, so I had to make sure her and Aurora were taken care of. I didn't even think about it or realize it was Father's Day, but I guess thanks for wishing me one on my first one too. Dad. Maybe you should start asking AI how to respond to 3 situations if a counselor is not an option. Sent link to website on what to say if you forget to say Happy Father's Day. Dad. Or ask a person that has family. Me. I can't believe you thought this was the appropriate way to say to me that hey, you didn't message me Happy Father's Day when you also didn't wish me a Happy Father's Day when I have a 2-week-old newborn, who is also your granddaughter who you have not once asked how she is doing or wanted to visit. So thanks for making me feel like shit. Happy late Father's Day, since apparently it means so much to you. Dad, we both know that we just spoke about Aurora on the phone 4 days ago. We talked about solid foods, how often she was up, etc. So far, all you've done is make excuses and try to make this about you. When someone tells you that you hurt their feelings, this is not the way to respond. I'm being serious. Go ask AI what you should do if you forgot to wish your dad a happy Father's Day. It's literally what licensed counselors would tell you. Me. Yeah, we talked about her after I brought her up. I'm not apologizing and I am also serious. I don't care what Ari has to say and I will ask my therapist with all context how this situation should have been resolved. I think it's ridiculous that you are acting this way and I am done discussing this. Have a great rest of your day. Story 11. AITA for snapping a woman who kept commenting about my underarm hair. Throwaway cause I don't want this bullshit connected to my main account. I, 30SF, was in an outdoor cinema event Story 12. AITA for refusing to participate in my partner's family events. Me, 31F, and my boyfriend, 31M, have been together for almost 3 years. When I first met his family, they were kind and really put in effort to get to know me. His sister, 27F, and his sister-in-law, 29F, would text me to plan dinner together, we'd work out together, etc. The feeling was mutual. Slowly I've noticed them both distancing themselves from me with no apparent reason to my knowledge. Several months ago, his brother reached out to me and my BF asking if we'd like to go to Hawaii with them, the family, minus the parents. We took a couple hours to discuss this and responded that night that we were in. His brother responds back saying never mind. We decided to go with a smaller group, essentially just removing us since everyone else was still going. They went on their trip and blocked me and my BF from seeing their social media stories. To this day we're still blocked but haven't spoken up about it to them. There was never an apology or an attempt to communicate what happened. It was just swept under the rug. Fast forward to recent events, his family texts us asking if we'd come over on a Thursday evening. My BF has to work, so we responded saying we can't make it but that we'll see them the following Sunday for Father's Day. The sister texts us a video that night that the SIL brother are announcing their first pregnancy and that we missed it. There was no attempt to reschedule the announcement so that we could all be present for it. They could have easily said the news on Father's Day, just days later. I had a deep talk with my BF last night and expressed my concerns that his family is making it clear they don't value our presence. Whenever we go over to the family home, it feels like everyone goes quiet and dilutes their personality until we leave. I told him I will no longer participate in family events. I will not congratulate his SIL since she has been nothing but standoffish towards me for years now. I will not go where I don't feel welcome. Today he went to the family home alone and I stayed at home. Story 13. AITA for telling my dad I didn't like his new wife. So I, 17F, have 2 sisters, Gabby, 24F, and Amelie, 27F. Our mother passed away 8 years ago and my dad, 54M, finally decided he wanted to remarry. He met this woman, 46F, on a dating app who I won't say her name. They met up and got to know each other probably 7 months ago, and 2 months ago my dad proposed to her. Obviously me and my sisters thought he was rushing things and told him that he had to take things slow, especially since they literally met only 7 months ago. He said that he hasn't been this happy in a long time and that he wanted to get married as soon as possible and that his fiancée wanted the same thing as well. Me and my sisters thought that he really was happy and we finally came to terms that they really were engaged and soon the wedding would happen. The wedding day came and they had their honeymoon and all was good, until his new wife started acting like a total bitch. So basically after their honeymoon she started living with me and my dad obviously. Since my sisters moved out of the house my dad's wife would always boss me around and tell me what to do, like go clean the dishes or go clean the living room. I mean these are basic things that need to be done and I don't really mind doing them, but not when every 2 freaking hours she would find something for me to do. For example, she literally told me to go clean out her closet and fold her clothes. Obviously I said no because why the hell am I doing that skull? She then started complaining and saying that I have no respect for her when all day I do chores that she should have been doing instead. I told my sisters about this and they said that it only happened one time so it doesn't really matter. But tell me why she literally told me to clean out the fridge and clean it. Excuse me why am I doing that? Like no thanks, I'm not doing that. I literally told her that and she started complaining again about how disrespectful I am. I told my sisters about that as well and they said that they'll talk to her. So Gabby came and confronted her but then she decided to cry to my dad as if he would take her side, which he did like a pensive face anyway. He took her side and started yelling at me and my sister and said that we weren't making her feel welcome even though all we've been doing is be nice to her. For some reason my dad thought it was a good idea to start yelling at me and call me names, which is diabolical because why is he defending a woman he met no even 8 months ago? I started yelling back obviously and in the midst of the argument I said that I didn't even like her from the beginning. My dad and his wife went absolutely crazy and started yelling at me as if I committed murder. My sister Gabby lives in an apartment and my sister thought it's better if I go stay with her until the issue is resolved. My dad hasn't talked to me and I really don't know if I'm in the wrong or not. So the question still remains. AITA. Edit. IDK, why people are saying I don't do chores. I literally do loudly crying face every time she asks me to do either the dishes or clean the living room. I obvi do it. BC, it's not that big of a deal as I mentioned before. But yeah, I just wanted to make that clear. Loudly crying face. Story 14. AITA for involving myself and angering the new neighbors. I, 33F, live in a cul-de-sac with 5 other houses on my street. 3 of these houses have motorcycles. Now, I must say, the bikers are really respectful of noise. One gets home late, one leaves early, and they walk their bikes to the end of the road before they start them so they don't disturb the gaggle of young children in the neighborhood. Oftentimes, you will see the bikers giving kids rides around the circle. All in all, fantastic neighbors. On to the issue. Recently, the only empty house on our street was bought by a young family. Mom and Dad look to be in their early to mid-20s, and the kids look to be maybe 3 and 5. Mom started making a fuss the moment they moved in over the bikes. They are too loud, they shouldn't have bikes around such young kids, and finally they keep waking my kids up in the middle of the night. Most of us ignored them until they yelled at my neighbor for driving through at 2 p.m. on a Saturday. He was driving under the speed limit and he was making a normal amount of noise. I was outside when she started walking towards him and his bike, screaming about the bikes and horrible neighbors. I got up, walked over and yelled back that she moved into our neighborhood and she could clearly see the bikes when they were viewing the house. She turned on me telling me I was a monster for allowing my kids near that death trap and it was ridiculous that I hadn't complained yet. I told her she was a crazy B-word and to stay off both of our properties, that she and her family could keep to themselves and could go suck a cactus. She won't so much as look at me now, but one of our neighbors said that I was being a dick and that it was a hell of a way to welcome them to the community. I do feel bad now because I hate to speak to people like that. Story 15. AITA for enforcing basic boundaries on my daughter's sleepover. I, 42M, have 2 kids living with me, my daughter Anya, 17F, and my stepson Noah, 14M. Noah's mom passed a few years ago, and I've had full custody since. He's had a rough go of it, but he's a good kid, with his quirks. He's not antisocial or shy, but he does not appreciate having his space invaded, and when very upset, he can kinda shut down. Anya is much more outgoing and has a lot of friends. She asked to have a sleepover this weekend with 4 of them. I said yes, of course, but given that the friends who were coming were pretty loud and have a tendency to crowd Noah, I told her to make sure they don't go into her brother's room. Also to keep things down after 11, so that the house can sleep. In my opinion, these are not strict rules. To my surprise, I came upstairs to check on them at about 10. They are 17. I didn't think I needed to check on them every hour or something, and they were in Noah's room. And they looked like they'd been there a while. 2 were literally sitting on his bed, with him there. One of them was flipping through his sketchbook, another was messing with his other stuff, and they were all kind of giggling in this weird way. Noah was clearly upset. He didn't say anything or move, but there were tears in his eyes and he didn't respond when I tried to talk to him. I told the girls to get out right then, and that I was calling every single one of their parents. Anya was pretty upset with me, but I told her that I gave them TWO rules and they failed spectacularly. I did actually call all of their parents and sent them home as soon as possible. Anya blew up, saying I embarrassed her. I told her to go to her room and that we would speak on this in the morning. I spent about 20 minutes with Noah before he decided he wanted to cool down on his own, and I went back to my daughter, who chose not to speak to me. It's late, both of my kids are, hopefully, asleep, and I'm left not knowing if I handled things right. AITA. Story 16. AITA for snapping on my mom after she offered me up for manual labor. I had spent multiple days at the park and gym of my school working out, playing football and playing basketball. I told my mom this over and over again, and I for the past days had been informing her of the huge amounts of pain in my feet and legs. Yet she still decided to offer me up to help someone move out of her house, which had involved some very heavy lifting that could have injured my legs and feet given the tension and stress already upon them. The person she offered me up to help had called her while I was in the same room and said if he doesn't want to go, he doesn't have to. No was an acceptable answer. And after I heard this, I blew up on her, yelling at her that I had been in a very large amount of pain in specifically my upper and lower legs for the past 4 days while this person was on call, and that she clearly hadn't listened to me and continued to not listen to me and or didn't care about my physical or mental health because she made decisions for me regardless of it being my choice and me being in severe pain. So AITA. Story 17. For not letting my ex or his GF see my baby. My ex and I haven't gotten along since we divorced 4 years ago. He has created fake pages to stalk me, called CPS on me, attempted to get my now husband to leave me before we ever got married, and put our child at risk. The list goes on, but I won't name everything. His girlfriend has been around since before we got divorced, and before anyone asks, yes, they did have an affair. Fast forward to now, our child is in 2nd grade and spends time with their dad and his girlfriend during breaks. I recently got remarried and had a new baby. I don't want my baby around my ex and his girlfriend, or to even see them for obvious reasons. My child has asked their dad if he wanted to see the baby, and he said something along the lines of I wouldn't mind. I said no, and that their dad didn't need to see the baby, and left it at that. Here's where I might be the my child video chats with their dad or his girlfriend sometimes. Recently I told them that if they're holding the baby they need to turn the camera off because their dad and his girlfriend don't need to see the baby. My child told the girlfriend this, and the girlfriend said, isn't that rude? So am I the for not wanting them to see my baby at all? They have both attempted to make my life difficult on multiple occasions, and I don't want them to have anything to do with my baby at all. I barely like them having anything to do with my oldest child due to several incidents, but that's their father. Edit to ADD. There was an order granted to me in court for my protection with regard to this ex. So, I'm just trying to protect the baby and my older child as well. Edit number 2. I have never bad-mouthed the oldest dad to them or around them. I simply said that they didn't need to see the baby right now and did not elaborate further. The oldest does have an excellent relationship with the baby and helps out a lot. I've done my best to keep them out of the toxicity even when this ex has not. My biggest concern is my baby being showed to by other people by ex via screenshot or somehow involved in anything unnecessary. Hubby feels the same way, as he has been dragged into things by this ex before. The older child has also been told things by this ex that are completely inappropriate to be discussing with a child. I'm doing my best to protect both my children. Also, the oldest loves my new hubby and they have an amazing relationship. Oldest has gone with hubby to do things alone. And oldest always hugs him and gets upset anytime he has to go anywhere, including to work. Edit number 3. I do agree that I should just remove the baby from the area during these calls. That's on me for allowing my eldest to hold the baby or watch the baby during these calls, and I can do better moving forward, and just let me oldest know that I want them to focus on their conversation with their dad, and I'll keep the baby with me until they're done talking. Story 18. A day for telling my parents I do not want to attend university. I'm 16M, live in Canada with immigrant parents, 41F, 55M, who've always dreamed of me becoming a doctor. Typical story. Get good grades, go to a top university, become successful. I get why they want that for me, but I'm struggling in school. Even though I study hard, I can't get my grades up, especially in chemistry and biology. I'm more interested in math. I've realized I don't want to be a doctor. The process is long, stressful, and not for me. Instead, I want to become an electrician. There's good money, high demand, and solid job security, and I'd eventually like to open my own business in a bigger city. Plus, I could start earlier through a co-op program in high school, but it means switching out of my current courses, bio, chemical, physics. When I told my parents, my mom flipped out and called trades jobs something losers do. My dad was more open to it, but still wants me to stay in my current classes just in case. My mom now says if I don't get 95% plus in science this year, I currently have 60%, she'll punish me and ground me all summer. I feel like I'm being forced into a path that I'm not interested in, and I'm tired of not being heard. AITA for wanting to take a different path. Edit. Thanks for all the responses. I'm glad that most people are supportive. I just wanted to add that my mom is genuinely a good person. We just don't always see eye to eye. Also, my mom has never been the type of person to care about anything anyone has to say, so I'm positive that she isn't trying to secure bragging rights or feels the desire to say my son, the doctor. Also, we're immigrants from the Middle East, Palestinian to be exact, not South Asia. My dad is an accomplished dentist who owns a dental practice, and there are many doctors in my family and others were studying to become doctors. Story 19. For asking my neighbor to only use these yard lights when they are outside to enjoy them. A week ago, my neighbor strung about 150 foot of lights from the 3-board fence around his yard. He hung them so that the lights are in the open space below the top rail. These are the large bulb-type string lights, not like Christmas lights. About 50 foot of this is on our shared fence line, and he did without asking me, then set them on a timer from dusk till 11 p. every day of the week. These things are bright, and with the way the fall line is shine into our first floor at eye level. They also illuminate the blinds upstairs like it is early morning just before dawn. They've been up for about a week, and when my neighbor was out in the yard yesterday and went over and talked to him, I told him that I think string lights can be beautiful, and the ones he put up have a good aesthetic, but they are very bright. I asked him if he would please only use them when they're out in the yard rather than leave them on a timer, as they are very distracting and disruptive on a nightly basis. He told me that he would rather compromise by shortening the timer from dusk until 10 p.m. and I said this won't work. It doesn't change how disruptive they are to us. He then said, well, they are relaxing to me when I walk by the window and I want to leave them on. At this point, I had to call out that this is not only against our HOA, which doesn't allow hanging lights that are not shielded, but it also goes against 3 town ordinances, and he cannot modify a shared fence line in our city without my consent. He said that I am just trying to ruin the fun for everyone and I'm holding a double standard because other houses and other parts of the neighborhood have string lights and I've had them for months and clearly I haven't complained about those houses, or the HOA isn't going to do anything. I then informed him that I absolutely was looking out for the greater good as the other 5 neighbors around us. We have all spoken and do not want the lights on every night. He insisted that I just was refusing to compromise, so I told him that I'll file a complaint with the HOA and with the city ordnance office. Story 20. For yelling at my dad for getting my sister Business class tickets but not me. For context, my family is going on a vacation to China. It's important to note that me 17F and my mom 47F are going to China earlier than my sister 14F and my dad 52M, because she has a camp she wants to attend. So my father and my mother booked tickets separately. My dad decided to use all of his frequent flyer points to upgrade him and my sister to premium economy on the way there, 12 hours, and business class on the way back, 14 hours. He sent a message after he did this to the family group chat without discussing it with anybody. My mother responded asking if she should also upgrade to business class, which would leave me alone in economy because she wasn't planning on upgrading me. I was already really upset that my father had upgraded my sister and him without asking about it or considering other options. And then to see that my mom was just ready to upgrade herself and let me be the only one not in business class. I know this sounds super bratty, but I don't mind being in economy, and I'm glad we get to go on vacation. Anyhow, my father told my mom that because we booked the tickets together she has to upgrade both of us. My mom then realized she doesn't have enough points to do that. But she had enough to upgrade both of us premium economy, so she did that. Anyways, when I got home I tried to confront my parents about this. I asked how they could, without even trying to find a fair solution, do this. My father just told me that life isn't fair. My mother said that I'm selfish and the asshole for not being happy for them for getting to be in business class. This is when I started to lose it. How is it selfish that I just want to be treated equally as my sister? They could have worked out a fair solution, but they didn't even try. Like my father could have gifted some of his points to my mom so that she also could have upgraded both of us to business class too. In this case we would have all flown there in economy and back in business. I don't understand how they don't see how it's unfair that my sister and my father get upgraded for both ways, and they wouldn't have even upgraded me if my mother wasn't forced to. I don't get how they could tell me I'm selfish for not being happy when they would have upgraded everyone but me without a second thought. I told them that it's bad parenting giving another child so much more, and just stating the other child should be happy about it. Even my sister agreed with me, stating that their behavior was rude. I think my parents can use their points on themselves cause it's their money, and I wouldn't mind if they only upgraded themselves. It's just the fact that they have 2 children and they would leave the other one out when there were other solutions. Also, I'm actually not jealous about my sister. I'm just hurt they wouldn't try to work out a solution. This truly isn't about me complaining about being in economy. I don't care about that. I'm just sad they would treat us differently. Am I being dramatic here? Am I the asshole for yelling at my parents? For clarity, 'cause I wrote it wrong at first, my father and my sister are flying premium economy there and business back. My mom and I are flying economy there and premium economy back. We're going there with different flights, but back on the same flight. And I forgot to mention, IDK if it's important, but this is a family trip and I'm half Chinese, so we go to China every year or every other year to visit relatives. The solution that they could have done. My father gifts my mom points so that she can upgrade us to business. This way both fly there with economy and back with business. Also about the yelling, I did approach my parents calmly to ask about it. It was after they called me selfish that I started to raise my voice. They did too. Many people have noted I get to go on vacation earlier. But I'll make something clear, my sister doesn't like China that much, she doesn't like big cities. She wouldn't go if it wasn't for seeing relatives. Update, me and my sister came up with the solution. My sister and my mom are gonna swap seats on the way back. This way my sister is still gonna be in premium economy on the way there and I won't, but at least it'll be more fair this way. I still feel a bit upset with my parents for not putting in the effort to think of this themselves, but I'll get over it. I'm glad that my sister sided with me, which I knew she would cause I would have done the same for her.